I will be doing an AMA session with a representative from World of Iselia.
Okay, hey guys, welcome to the AMA session. Like I promised in the video, which I'll suggest you watch, in which I introduced and reviewed the World of Iselia project. I said that I'm going to do the AMA session, and here it is. In this session, we're going to, and I'm going to ask question, of course, about things that were maybe uncertain in the video, that were not clarified in the video, that needs further clarification, further information, further knowledge about this. And the questions that I've shaped are according to what you guys asked in the comment section. So for those of you guys who don't know what World of Iselia project is, I'll suggest you guys to watch the full video, which I've already done, and you will have the link in the card somewhere up there. Click on it and you'll be able to watch the full video. This is an NFT card battle game that is on Ethereum. They have their pre-sale live, and by the time when I made the video, the pre-sale just went live. It was phase 1. I think now it's the phase 3. It is going as a good success. The pre-sale is moving ahead with a really good pace. And we talked about the mechanics of World of Iselia, which is unlike anything we have seen in any other project. Like, it is a gaming project, it has a P2E mechanism, but unlike other projects that relies on the user engagement and the number of users and players in the game to power their P2E mechanism and the whole business model, in here it's different. In here, even if there is less engagement, the P2E mechanism, it won't stop, it won't cease, the rewards won't stop or be affected. Now, we're going to have further clarification in the AMA session about this, but we talked about how they are investing 50% of the raised funds from the pre-sale into a hedge fund, which will provide monthly returns that in further is going to power the P2E mechanism and also their distinct burn mechanism. So this is my introduction about World of Iselia. Of course, there's a lot more that is in this project, but I'll allow the representative from World of Iselia that have joined with us in this session to give their perspective on how they perceive World of Iselia as a project. So, first of all, thank you guys to take your time out and coming here. And with this being said, I'll give you guys a few minutes to introduce World of Iselia in your own words. So take it away.
First of all, thank you for having us. It's a pleasure to be here, and hopefully we're able to provide what is needed for the community and all the people that are interested. But Aki, if you want to go through some of the background.
Like you mentioned, that Pablo, there is a lot to unpack where it comes to the World of Iselia. So I'd want to take this opportunity to introduce us and kind of take you guys back in time. So if we go back 12 years, back in 2012, partner who is partnered with us, who is the original founder, founded a games company. And this is where the inception of World of Iselia started. The games company released a game called Eternal Summoners. Eternal Summoners is based in the universe of World of Iselia. So that's where World of Iselia has come from, which was a Web 2 base game. It was specifically a trading card game, which back then in that time was ahead of its time because it possessed functions that some Web 3 games are now currently exhibiting and displaying.
Like in-game marketplace, trading functionality, that sort of aspect, yes.
So if we now fast forward to 2018, which is still, 6 years ago, the founder wanted to then enter the Web3 space, but felt it was a little bit too early and the game was still ahead of its time. We then fast forward again to 2022, where we were ready to enter the market. Unfortunately, the main founder had a very serious accident at that time, which resulted in him being in a coma for a few weeks. So all operations...
It was a few months.
So all operations had to halt at that time. We now fast forward to present day, 2024. We've now started to build a team and finally fulfill this historical mission that's been in the works for the past 12 years. So that's a brief introduction as to who we are and how we have come about. Obviously, we'll go into more about the game mechanics and other features throughout the session of the AMA.
Right. Okay, so that actually answered one of the questions that I wanted to ask afterwards, which for now I think I'm going to skip it, because we have a lot of crypto projects that are developed, like crypto gaming projects, that are planned to just make the crypto project, not the game itself. The game idea is new. That comes after the crypto project. Crypto project comes first. But in this case, the game came first and the crypto project is coming afterwards. Okay, so moving ahead with the first question, which now I have to make it a different one, is what is the most novel component of World of Iselia project, as a crypto project, as a gaming project, that you think makes it distinctive, makes it, distinguishes it from other similar projects?
Fantastic question.
Yeah, good question. So one of the aspects which definitely immediately intrigued me and pulled me in towards the game is firstly the game graphics and its design. It's quite in depth. It's well thought out. It's well articulated, and there has been a fair share of time allocated just to the design element of it. So that was a big one for us.
Huge,
Well, for
massive.
myself, we're all gamers as well. We enjoy a wide variety of games. Trading card games wasn't our personal favorites. However, there are certain trading card games which we have played.
Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon.
Exactly. So we've played a fair few of them, and this is one of the games that, again, it caught us off guard. There's all these other features within the game as well. Something like, for example, we can make you aware of, we have the seamless wallet function. This allows individuals that aren't in the crypto space to come in, register, set up their account, and at the same time, a wallet is created for them within the game. So if you're never involved in the crypto space, I think it's a big thing to also be able to introduce you to that side of the world, essentially. But yeah, so you can, through what we are providing, you can earn real world returns from our in-game play to earn experience. And the way that is done is through, well, one part through our tokenomics and the mechanics behind that. Also that we've partnered with a hedge fund, and they offer the ability for players to stake their tokens in order to actually receive fiat currency based returns. So we're trying to break this barrier between the Web2, Web3 space and the crypto financial space, as well as the real world financial space. So I think that's another big element within the game. There's a couple of things that we've not announced and made public yet. And actually, we were debating whether we should actually make this announcement or not. It's something that we've been in talks with the software development side, the team that are handling the revamp of the game. We plan to introduce, well, we don't plan, we are introducing AI within the game. So different players won't even be able to tell between an NPC, a non-playable character, versus if it's an AI or not. Again, this is something which is something that is happening. It's in progress. It's been discussed, and it's literally in the works. So yeah.
Just on that quickly, the first point that you mentioned, the in-game graphics and design.
Yeah.
If anybody wants to see an example of that, we actually leaked a 0gen NFT on our Twitter page. So you can have a look at the card and you can see the graphics for yourself. Where you mentioned there what makes us different from other games, right?
Yeah.
Look at other games, look at the graphics. Other games, without naming names, graphics are very...
No, let's name names. So, first of all, we've got things like Sandbox. You got Axie Infinity. Now, I'm pretty sure certain individuals that might be watching this video would have heard of these games. And in all honesty, like I said, when your first glance of the game, it looks terrible. It looks like it was something produced back in the late 90s or early 90s when Sega Mega Drive was a thing. So without obviously disrespecting anyone in any way, shape, or form,
just stating facts.
Yeah, it's technically a fact. So,
and like Akol was saying, the in-game graphics compared to the other games that you're seeing in the Web3 space, they're sloppy, right? They're not well thought out. Okay, you can tell that the creators of these games have seen a trend. They've created a mishmash of people together to create a game and jump on the bandwagon of this current trend that is happening. Whereas the main distinction between us and them is that we were a games company 12 years ago. Our game has a prequel, and this is the sequel. It has 12 years of experience, rigorously thought out, time and time again, of in-game mechanics, graphics, and business model behind it. It's not something that we've seen a trend to do straight away.
And jumped on the bandwagon, yeah.
This has been 12 years in the making. So that's one of the main distinctions between us and other games.
But doesn't it concerns the team that there are, like you mentioned before, like we were talking about Sandbox and Axie Infinity. Of course, they have poor graphics, and there are better games in Web 2, in traditional, I wouldn't say traditional finance, but outside of crypto projects, the games are really good. Their graphics are good, but when it comes to crypto, the games are poor. Most projects that promise to make a game never actually build it, and those that do build it, the games are not fun to play. They're not entertaining. The graphics are poor. The mechanics are poor. Lack of features and so forth. And it intercepts because they're only developing this game or promise to develop the game to somehow dazzle the investors and audience into believing that their native token is going to have utility in that game, and so that they can believe that in the future the price is going to be appreciated. And that's the whole point of their game. The game is not itself made to be played. It's just something in place to, sport, not in, sport the project, to help the project. But doesn't it concern the team that other people that may be listening to this AMA session that heard about World of Iselia will be thinking, yeah, it's just one of those games, because, well, they may not even develop the game, what the team is doing to, to cover this part. Like, of course, they're kind of concerned about this.
I'm going to take this one if that's all right. I think although, Pablo, it was a great question, I think the question is flawed itself.
Right.
You don't go to a restaurant and say, are you producing food? We are a games company. The concern about us not producing a game is eliminated from a games company because that's what we do.
Yeah.
Right? We already did that 12 years ago with the term Eternal Summoners. So the concern about us producing a game should be eliminated because we are, first and foremost, a games company.
We're gamers by heart.
Gamers by
we
heart.
believe in a AAA standard, right? So that's why there's such a high level of focus in producing a high quality game. And on top of that, one of the things that we've not spoke about is, first of all, we had a community already within the original Web 2 base game. This community in itself has been reaching out to us, pushing us. Hey guys, when are we going to get this release? When are we getting this next update? What's going on with it? What are you guys up to? Asking for a timeline, asking for updates consistently. So there's already a demand there for it.
Yeah.
And we're already designing games. So why not meet the demands and the desires of what our community of players want? So on that sort of basis is what we are operating on.
And then the other part of your question as well, where you mentioned about, these other companies that do release a game and the game is subpar in terms of standard. Our community already enjoyed the first game. We've taken their feedback on board to revamp the game and bring out part 2, the sequel.
Yeah.
Right.
So they enjoyed part 1. I'm sure going to enjoy, right?
Yeah.
Part 2 literally incorporates what they want to see, what adjustments they want, the feedback that they've given us. We've asked them, be critical as possible, be as harsh as possible. We will look to do the best we can in order to deliver against those expectations.
Right. Okay. My next question was going to be about the category of this game, but since it's developed like from 2012, you mentioned, so, and we have seen that in crypto space, most games that are developed or promised to be developed are in the the massively multiplayer online role-playing games. So my question was, why did you choose this category, and you chose the card battle game? Like, what appeal do you see in the card battle games?
Do you?
No, I was going to leave it.
Okay. So basically, if you look going backwards in time,
right,
there have been existing games. So, for example, like Yu-Gi-Oh, the Pokemon trading card game. It's something we've once upon a time been interested in. At the same time,
I still have my Yu-Gi-Oh cards under my bed. Still have the original Dark Magician and Blue Eyes White Dragon under my deck. Swear to God.
Nice, from the original deck.
Yeah,
nice.
the original deck.
But yeah, so with regards to the actual trading card game, it was something, again, the game was already created, right, back in 2012. We're in the process of upgrading and making that game a better version of itself. One of the reasons why we chose to stick with this game is, other than the demand factor, is that we looked at other games that are in the Web3 space that have been successful, have not been successful. In my honest opinion, I don't think many of them have been successful, or certain funds that they've received in terms of determining their success. Whereas I determine a game's success based on different metrics rather than the investments you received.
Yeah.
So based on that, if you look at the game, what's called Splinterlands,
Yeah.
that was a very popular one in the Web3 space, and that's a trading card game as well. I don't know if you yourself have heard of it, but I'm pretty sure some of your viewers would definitely have heard of it. And that game, even now, it's still rocking and rolling. It's doing well. It's been what, 6 years they've been in the space. So they've definitely proven themselves that a game based on this element of the gaming experience can be successful. So we want to basically come in and provide and produce a much better version with a more in-depth, like storytelling feature and all these other variations within the actual game.
If I can
Right.
use an analogy that, like, we mentioned Splinterland 6 years ago. We're 12 years ago. So a lot of the games that you're seeing in the Web3 space at the moment, it's equivalent. I mean, Pablo, did you play Pokemon back in the days?
I did.
Yeah. So you would remember, as much as I would, how frustrating it was when Pokemon Go came out and all these kids had their smartphones that loaded Pokemon Go. They could name every single Pokemon in the whole Pokemon universe, but they didn't, just like me and you, stand outside those shops on those cold winter days, waiting with £2 or 2 rupees or whatever you want to call it in your hands, waiting to get that starter deck.
Waiting for the
to get those
shop
figures.
to open to
Waiting
get
for
the
the shop.
damn deck.
Exactly.
So
They weren't like that. We were like that. We were the original. In terms of what we're speaking now with World of Iselia, we have been the original Pokemon goers. We started. We have been in the space for 12 years. So we're not the newbies who downloaded things on our phones and wanted to catch onto a trend. We started this a long time ago.
Right. Okay, that answers this perfectly. Now the next question is going to be about the P2E mechanism. I already have given my take on the P2E mechanism. I think it's very amazing. It's very novel. But of course, it comes with other questions, because since we have not seen this mechanism before, it does bring some questions on the table. Like World of Iselia, the P2E mechanism does not rely on number of users, or their engagement for the P2E rewards. But does that mean that if World of Iselia, and when it becomes successful and you get a huge player base, that's not going to, which players will be assuming that since it's now getting more players, it's generating more revenue, that means there are more to give back to the players in the P2E mechanism. How is it going to impact? If the number of players are increased, what impact will be there on the rewards in the P2E mechanism?
All right, if I take this one.
100%. It's maths, and this is his remit.
So just to make our viewers aware, my background is dominantly it's in physics. I studied physics at the University of Sheffield. So I try to look at everything. Well, I see the world in more of a mathematical sort of lens versus the typical artsy sort of approach. We have gone down the route of creating an in-depth token mechanism, which is within the game. It considers various variables, such as number of players or how long they're playing, and all these other various factors, if they're a part of a guild, if they're actually just playing on their own. So there's a few different variables that are considered within the actual token mechanics, meaning that everything is relative to what is happening. So that, for example, if there's a much larger number of players, our mechanics itself would be regulating the number of tokens that are available. It would be regulating other features and functions within the game. And like we said, we're literally in the process of incorporating AI into the game. So it went from us relying on this complex flowchart and design system that we created for the token mechanics to now AI is reading it, learning about it, and improving it in itself. Not sure how I feel about AI. I feel like I'm going to become mute in the future, the way it's going and its mathematical functionality. But yeah, so it is all determined by the mechanics that we have already laid the foundations for. And again, when it's AI backed, you can definitely guarantee that there's some sort of assurance when it comes to that aspect of it.
Right. Okay. Can you clarify the relationship between the number of players and the P2E rewards? Like, what can we expect? Because the hedge fund will be providing monthly returns. There will be a portion which will be almost fixed. It's 7 to 15%. It will be ranging. Let's say we take minimum 7%. If the number of players are less, so that'll be distributed among the less players. That means if there's less players, from what I see in front of me is, if there are less players, they're going to get a higher portion. Is that correct?
That's incorrect. So that's this refers back to the mechanism that we've put in place. Obviously, if there are less players, giving out the same number of rewards would just mean we're diluting what is available out there. So in order to counteract that, we have put literally mathematical equations in place to consider all of those variables. So that shouldn't be a concern for our community or team of players or any individual that is interested.
Right. Okay. So now that we have talked about the hedge fund, is there any compounding that will be done on the principal amount that's given to the hedge fund?
Is there any compounding that will be done? Yes. So we what we did was we provided an example within the actual light paper. I know not everyone will jump to reading the light paper, so I'll just give you a quick explanation based on that example within the light paper.
Okay.
So for example, players, what they can do is they can deposit $1,000 worth of tokens into the fund. What happens then is those tokens become locked, and then obviously 3 months, it's based on a quarterly period. As each quarter comes to its end, that's where you're looking at where the returns are coming in. So for example, on $1,000, you're looking at about $150 in terms of profit. So what happens there is, you know, the users, if they wish to withdraw, they have the option of withdrawing the actual profit, or they can compound all of it, withdraw the principal fund as well as the profit. So in the event of $1,000, it becomes $1,150. So they can literally pull that out and choose not to stake the following quarter, or they can leave in the principal fund and just take the profit out. So the option is there.
Right.
I think that goes back to how we differentiate ourselves from other games as well. It's actually breaking the barrier down from gamers to real world mechanics.
My next question is, if you guys know, when will the game be available to play? Is there any date, any estimate?
Okay, so yes, there is an estimate at the moment. We're predicting Q1 of 2025.
Okay.
However, just to make everyone aware, originally when we started the revamp of the game, it was forecasted for mid-year next year. However, because of a lot of varying factors, we've been able to speed up that timeline quite a lot. So hopefully, fingers crossed, by Q1 of next year, it should be available to everyone. So
Okay, that's awesome. Now we're gonna move ahead with the questions about the pre-sale, because it is live right now. From what I understand, we have phase 3 at the moment. Just to be clear, just a close-ended question: was there any other funding round before this pre-sale?
So technically, no.
Not a public one.
No, not a public funding. It's more of the partners just contributing
okay.
to starting the process. Other than
Okay.
that, there's not been anything else.
Yeah.
No.
Okay, so at the moment, the phase 3 is live, and I think we have a few days left in it. You have the pre-sale has raised more than $500,000 already, and if the current pace continues, the soft cap, I think that is of 1 million, that will be reached pretty soon. But do you think that it is possible to reach the hard cap, or if it's not possible to reach the hard cap, how close do you think the pre-sale is going to get to the hard cap?
Yeah, so you know, you mentioned there about the soft cap being $1 million. That is our phase 3 target. So given the current trajectory of what we're working on, you know, $500,000 we've had
2 weeks.
after in 2 weeks. So based on a 12-week program, we're looking at $6 million, right? $6 million. Yeah.
Right.
So what you need to remember is, with that $500,000, the exposure behind the project hasn't been overwhelming. We still have a lot more marketing and promotion to go on. You know, we have listings with exchanges that haven't talked about us yet, which are due to talk about us.
Mhm.
So I think based on that, you know, if we go at the current price, we go up to $6 million. I think once the extra marketing comes in, I think we will far exceed the hard cap. Yeah, for sure.
We're hard capped at 8 million, but we definitely believe we'll be able to reach that sooner than planned.
Right. Okay. Now, for those of those viewers who probably purchased the tokens or are now watching this, the website mentioned that of course they're going to claim it after the TGE token generation event, and the site says that they will be able to withdraw and claim in a sense significant portion of the tokens that they bought from the pre-sale. Now, are you able to provide any exact percentage that people will be able to withdraw at the token generation event?
Yes. Yes, we are. So at the TGE, we're looking at 50% of the tokens will be released.
Okay. Yeah.
We've implemented a vesting period.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
And that ties back to our financial ecosystem and providing stability to that. So what happens is at the token generation event, the TGE, 50% of the tokens that have been purchased by any individual will get released to them. And then it's 25% plus 1 week. And then the week after that, another 25%.
Okay.
So that's how we structured it.
Right. Okay. Awesome. Now let's have a few questions about the staking and the burning mechanics that you have implemented on the project. So holders can stake their WOI tokens. By the way, how do you pronounce WOI tokens? Like, do you have any name for it?
We just say WOI.
WOI?
We just
Okay.
say,
Okay. I'll just say
yeah.
WOI. So holders
Yeah.
of the WOI tokens, when they stake it, basically they stake it into the hedge fund, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so they stake it into the hedge fund using the staking method platform that you have developed, and they can get a percentage return of 3 to 5% per month. Now, when they get these returns, they happen in 4 distinctive dates throughout the year, so 3 months apart. What if there's one person who staked it? Now, 2 months has passed. He probably have, if it's a 3 months per month, he have generated a return of 6 months, but not withdrawn. And he wants to, or she wants to withdraw before the date, before completing the 3 months. Will he or she get any return or just the principal amount back? Or is there any penalty?
So the slight catch there, because what happens is when you go through the staking process, the tokens that you allocate for the staking process, they become locked.
Okay.
So they're not available for anything to happen, whether it's trading, buying, selling, burning, anything, right? It's locked. That becomes unlocked only at those 4 specified intervals. So it's quarterly in the year.
Right.
So therefore, the answer to your question would be no, they wouldn't be able to do anything at that moment in time. But if you're already 2 months down the line, I advise you hold on for another month.
Right.
Because you actually see some returns from it as well.
Right. Okay. So now about the burn mechanism. We have 3% of the buying transaction fees that get sent to the burn address automatically. And we have 5% of the monthly profits from the hedge fund that will be used to buy back the tokens and burn them. Sorry. Now, how long do you think that these burns are going to continue? Because in other projects, we have seen that they set a specific amount of total supply that when we reach this amount of supply, we're going to stop the burns. Is there any date that World of Iselia have selected to stop the burns, or will they just continue?
So, don't mind, I'll take
no, it's maths, so that's his.
So everything is relative to the actual token circulation supply. So what is actually circulating out there? We have the ability to initiate a stop function. However, it's mathematically determined on how much burning occurs, how much token generation occurs within the game, for example. So there's these variables that have been considered in order to regulate that aspect of it. So there's not like a specific number where it drops down to before we need to, oh my God, quickly stop it. There's literally systems in place.
Right.
We don't have to worry about that aspect of it from our side, that is, but just to provide reassurance to everyone else that we've got solid mechanisms in place.
Okay, that's awesome. Now, the next line of question is going to be important because from what I understand, there are major listings that are happened, and will possibly be happening in the future. So the website, as of right now, I'm just checking it. It says that we have confirmed listing on Bitmart, but I think there is one more listing that has been confirmed, and there are some listings in the pipeline which are mentioned by the website. So I'm not mentioning anything that's not mentioned on the website. So we have upcoming listings on CoinStore, 2bit, Bitmart, LBank, and XD. And actually, I forgot what my question was. So, can you identify for the audience these exchange listings that are confirmed, and are there going to be any other token listing that you have not planned right now, but you may be able to, you're looking up to it, that this is the exchange that I want to, get the token listed on?
Sorry, did you?
Yeah, I was just going to go through the confirmed. The confirmed are, like you said, Bitmart. We also have confirmed 2bit and Albank.
Okay, awesome.
Well, you mentioned CoinStore and XT.
The CoinStore and XT are listed on our website because the talks have already happened. We're just awaiting for the final confirmation from them. That's why we put it up onto our website. So just to make our viewers aware and our community aware, CoinStore and XT is something that is happening. We're just waiting for the thumbs up from the teams at the exchanges themselves. And then with regards to in the future, moving forward, if you look at the actual exchange we're listed with, they like mid-range. Whereas right now we are currently in talks with the top tier exchanges, and obviously everyone knows who they are, Binance and so on and so forth. So we are literally in process of talks with them, and hopefully we have some more news for everyone in the coming week or two with regards to what's happening on that front.
Right. So I'm going to bump one question because it's relevant to this one. For some reason, when you take a look at the roadmap that is listed, that is outlined on the website, it mentions decentralized exchange listings after the token generation event. It does not mention centralized exchange listings, but from the information again that is provided on the website, we have centralized exchange listings that are being confirmed, that are being planned out, but there isn't much information about the decentralized exchange listings. So do you know have any information about the decentralized exchange listings?
Yes, we are looking at Uniswap and PancakeSwap for decentralized exchange listings. So
the reason we've not mentioned anything about that yet is because we want to be able to actually provide some sort of news to our community. So until we progress a little bit further with these exchanges, and we have a bit more of an understanding as to when, where, yes, no, so on and so forth, that's when we'll start releasing more information on that. But at the moment, Uniswap and PancakeSwap are up on the table.
Right. Okay.
Just one more thing as well. When you're talking about the centralized exchange listings, the reason why we've mentioned it on our website, they haven't as of yet. A lot of these exchanges want to market our listing with them closer to the TGE.
Right. Okay.
So you'll see things start to happen closer to the TGE.
Okay, that's awesome. Now, one question which I actually put in the category of future planning, like when we talked about future planning in the end, but I think it's relevant in this one. So let's go ahead with it. You guys are, we're looking at a lot of major centralized exchange listings, and I'm expecting, and I think if you're going with these exchanges in the start, you're definitely planning with way bigger ones in the near future, and you already have mentioned those. And you're doing all of this, especially during the pre-sale phase, which is something that we haven't seen a lot of other exchanges even look at, not exchanges, not other projects look at. So this definitely indicates that the team that we have for World of Iselia, they're not joking around. They're taking it very seriously.
Yes,
they want this project not to just stay as just any other crypto project. They wanted to become a major contender in the crypto space and compete in the major leagues. That's what I'm saying here, because you're moving ahead with a really good pace. Do you have any inspiration, any project in mind that you want to compete with, that you take as a rivalry, that you want to beat in a sense?
Good question. Rivalry with other projects.
Because you mentioned about the Axie Infinity Sandbox, and you said that the graphics, and from what I've seen, the graphics of the game, they're definitely much better. So you definitely don't want to compete with someone who has a lower graphics. You want to compete with someone that is offering better graphics and a better game.
The problem is, sorry to interrupt you there. Can you actually name a game within the Web3 space that is producing graphic quality like ours?
No.
And this is the thing. You speak to anyone in the space, anyone in the space, and it is immediately something that people pick up on. And like my partner here earlier mentioned, we did release a post on our Twitter, and it's within our community, Telegram community as well. It shows a zero generation NFT that's being produced, and the actual visuals behind that literally correlate with the in-game visuals. With regards to, do we consider any other companies or projects out there as competitors and so on? And the truth is, we don't feel like the individuals or the projects that are in the Web3 space have the bountiful of experience that we do within the gaming industry in itself. So that factor alone sets us apart from our competition.
Exactly.
And one of the things we've always said at the beginning is, we don't just want to compete with them, we want to come in and wipe the floor with them. And we've taken steps to ensure that. So for example, without getting into too much detail and steering away from the original question, if you look at, for example, a big one, popular one, Sandbox, right? So Sandbox, they ended up receiving, and it's all over, like, you know, their main website and so on. They'll talk about how they partnered with a hedge fund. Now they've partnered with a hedge fund in the sense of they've received a large sum of investment. The hedge funds that they've targeted and approached are usually hedge funds within the crypto space, whereas ourselves, we've gone away from hedge funds in the crypto space. This gentleman is brilliant at sales and marketing, and he literally landed a hedge fund, got the terms and conditions that we wanted. So the hedge funds that, for example, backed Sandbox, they had some degree of control over, for example, the token supply, terms and conditions of the actual game, the company in itself. We don't have any of that. The hedge fund cannot dictate anything with us. If anything, it's the other way around. That doesn't mean that they don't send out a representative to sit with us in our meetings and so on and so forth. We have that sort of process in place already, but like I said, our hedge fund is from a completely different sector. And the fact that they actually gone away from their conventional investment into a crypto investment is a massive, massive thing from our side. Or reach out to other venture capitalists. They will be shocked when you tell them this. So yeah.
Just one more thing about the question, taking it back to the question about competitors. The fact that we've been established since 2012, whether other companies know it or not, they're competing with us because we were in the space first. You understand?
Yeah.
Like my partner said here, we're not here to take part, we're here to take over.
Right. But
You understand?
you do plan on doing partnerships and collaborations, and you want to partner with someone similar in a sense. So do you have any information about the partnerships? Like, who do you want to partner with?
We have other professionals within the gaming and the crypto space.
At the moment, we've been invited as well to a event, which is an exclusive event. At this event, there are individuals like, do you know who Robbie Young is?
Not really.
No. So for the community who don't know, Robbie Young is a venture capitalist essentially within the crypto space. Is it Animoca? Yeah, Animoca was the name of the hedge fund, and it's a massive, massive hedge fund within the crypto space. But Robbie Young is the individual that's invited our partners out to this event. At the same event, Stephen Bartlett's there. Who's from the Diary of a CEO, and we literally got VIP passes there to sit with them at the same table. So again, when it comes to partnerships and collaborations, there's just so much going on in the background. I don't even know which bit of the iceberg to start tipping in. But yeah, I hope that answers your question.
We'll be uploading, pictures from the event on our Twitter space as well. The event isn't until early October, so to give our words some substance, not just speaking words. Loading, pictures, videos, etc., posts on our Twitter space as well. So follow us and keep locked in.
Okay. Well, you heard it. I'll give you guys the link that will be in the description for their Twitter, social media. So make sure you check it out because they do have a lot of content over there that you may not be able to get from the website and newer updates. So let's move on to the question about the safety and security of the project itself. And now that you have, you did clarify that the hedge fund does not have any control on the, let's say, the supply or anything else relating to token economy or how it performs. But still, you're giving it 50% of the raised funds. That's a huge amount. How will you be able to retain the confidence of investors and users who invested in the in this token about the safety and security of the hedge fund?
Let me make you aware first. when anyone approaches a conventional hedge fund, not one that's in the crypto space, I don't know what the hedge funds in the crypto space, how they operate. I'm not too sure. I assume very similarly to the typical conventional hedge funds. With the hedge fund that we've partnered with, we've had them agree to our contractual terms and conditions. So
Right.
there is literally a contract in place that legally in terms of UK laws and regulations, legally binds them to
Right.
our project and what happens, what doesn't happen, and so on and so forth. So that's one part of it. And obviously with the long-term plan for the games company, it requires us to uphold the contract, because the partnership, they were already invested in what we were doing prior to attempting to move into the Web3 space. So meaning that partnership will always be there. And when it comes to, in the future, when it comes to producing different types of games, like first-person shooter and so on and so forth, they are there, they're backing us, they're supporting us. And, it's that aspect of it which I hope gives some degree of assurance
And
to
confidence.
to our community. So
Okay. Now, about the project, the roadmap mentions the audit. I think it mentions it in the phase 2. Yes, in the phase 2, it mentions smart contract audit. Is there any update regarding this? Like, when is it going to happen?
It's been completed.
So
We've been audited by council. Again, you can find the information on our Twitter page.
So the smart contract has had its audit complete.
Okay.
Another security measure is like what other projects do are the KYCs.
Yeah.
So we've also gone down that route. At the moment, that's in progress. We had to submit a bunch of information about each of us individually. We're just waiting for them to get back to us, essentially. As soon as we get the green light from them, we'll make an announcement before their official verification comes in. But again, we don't want to make any announcement prior to
Right.
actually some degree of response or confirmation from them.
Okay. Now, I think this is going to be the concluding question that I'll let you guys answer. Because we have gone over everything else, I think. I don't think there's anything that's left for us to discuss. Well, of course, there are going to be many future updates and so forth that needs to be discussed, but I think for now we have a lot of information. Now let's talk about the future. What future do you foresee for World of Iselia? Like for the next year, for the next 5 years? Because whoever has, invested in this wants to know what kind of future this project holds, what sort of future development you guys are focusing on that can happen here. So take it away.
So let's start with how we interact with the community. So for example, like one of the things we mentioned earlier, we do value critical feedback from our community. So since the launch of the original game back in 2012, up until now, essentially, it has taken on board that feedback from the players. We then utilize that feedback to improve the gaming aspect, the gaming experience, and so on and so forth. This sort of approach, we have no intentions of changing that. So once we've produced the Web3 version of the game, this will also be available to our community. So what we intend to do is continue that community, give them the opportunity to move into a private group, like some of our early investors, some of the people that have been with us from the early stages all the way through to the end. We are offering them exclusivity in order to give us their intake, their opinions, their feedback, so that those things can be implemented within the game.
You want to tell them about the competition that we ran yesterday on the Telegram
Yeah,
channel?
so that was another thing as well. So in terms of, for example, the NFTs that we are producing and making available to our community.
Just let them know as well. This NFT that we put in our Telegram channel was only in the Telegram channel. You won't be able to find it on Twitter or anything, but we ran small competition with our community in the Telegram channel where we released an NFT to them, and we asked the community for a competition to name the character, name a title for the character, and the kingdom for the character. And what we're going to do when this NFT is released, the winner, well, we actually chose 2 winners in the Telegram channel. Both of their names will be inscribed on the NFT. So it'll be named after.
Wow.
So there's things like that which are ongoing with regards to the actual game. With regards to the more of a 5-year plan and response to that aspect of the question, like we said, we've got this community going and we intend to keep that. 5 years is a small timeline in comparison to how long the actual game's been available on the market. 12 years, so it's more than 2.4 times as great. So we don't think that within 5 years we've decided, do you know what? We've made a fair share of money from the game. Let's close up shop and go do something else and live in the Bahamas on a beach. We have zero intentions of doing that. We're a gaming company. We intend to produce a large volume of games. Well, not a large volume of games, more quality-based games. And that is something that is ongoing.
Yeah.
So again, we want our community to be involved.
Exactly.
If there's something that we've seen is their feedback drives such positive results.
Exactly.
And at the end of the day, it's the user's experience that we want to improve. And the best way to do that is by keeping them involved. So that's a massive aspect that we definitely choose to keep moving forward.
And if you notice, where we're talking about the community, we're calling them a community. We're not a games company with a fan base. We are a family.
Right.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
Our Telegram community at the moment, we're called Iselians, right? Because we're building a community and a family. They have active input all the time in what we're doing, and stuff like the competitions. It's not going to be the first, and it won't be the last. So all of these things just help build that strong community,
Right.
And anybody who's watching, it's an open invitation. Drop the Telegram channel link and come and join. We're always welcoming new people all the time.
Put it in this way: how many other games company allow this sort of thing, right? We're allowing the public to dictate certain aspects of the game. For example, the character that was named was it yesterday or the day before?
Yesterday.
In the last couple of days is when when it was available for our community to actually engage in that. That character is someone who doesn't exist in the world of Iselia. All of a sudden will now exist. The kingdom will exist. Their title will exist. There will be an entire story created behind that. And all of that came from an individual within the community. So you can't actually participate in this sort of thing without being within the Telegram community. Well, that's why we strongly recommend and advise you follow that, because more of the insider information will come through there.
Right. So for viewers who are watching this session, hopefully by the end of, it's almost the end of the session. So it will be probably people who are interested that have made it to this end and they want to become, like you said, Iselians. Where do you suggest they go? Telegram, Twitter, or both? Because there's, from what I understand, some information is shared on the Twitter, some on the Telegram, and
all of it is shared on the Telegram.
All of it is available.
Yeah,
yes.
bits of it go to Twitter.
The more Twitter targets are a bit more of a professional sort of approach. They get specific updates, whereas all the nitty-gritty details are in the Telegram community.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so, well, you guys heard it. I think you should definitely follow on the Twitter, also on the Telegram, or become part of the community on the Telegram. But I think the more important one is the Telegram. If you want to get into more details, if you want to take part in events, if you want to become part of the community, I think the best one for now is Telegram. But still, do follow them on Twitter because there will be important announcements that will be made on there. But yeah, I think we have covered enough. For any final words, I'll let you guys have those, and then we'll conclude the session.
I hope that what we have done so far proves and indicates to the community that this is not something that we're here for a short-term project. This is not like a typical pump and dump. We've taken so many measures in place, and I'm telling you, we have jumped through hoops. We have spent night after night spending
12 years.
We spent 12 years, countless hours trying to provide the best possible approach to this entire project. Now, obviously, we're not as experienced as some of the other individuals that do these typical token pre-sales and so on and so forth. But we've taken so many steps to try to make it the best as possible. And we want people to see what we are doing rather than have a surface level assumption. So please look into us, research us, learn more about us, join our Telegram community and start asking questions. Yeah. Look for holes within our project. We will happily plug those holes. It's not a problem. We actually welcome that sort of thing. And obviously, like we said, we take on board feedback. That doesn't necessarily mean about the game. Talk to us about us. We're more than happy to provide whatever it is to the best of our ability to our
course.
community.
Yeah.
But you're not going to be able to do those things unless you actually get onto the bandwagon.
Yeah.
So please join us, and hopefully we're able to do something different. That's the aim.
Right. Okay. That's really awesome. Thank you so much for taking your time out. I think we had a very productive session. And you guys heard it, everything that's said in this. And for those who have made it to the end, you definitely are interested. You know it. I think we all know it. So links will be in the description. Check it out. If you still have any questions, the comment section is still open. Make sure that you drop a comment, ask questions, and yeah, I'll make sure to respond. If I don't have the answer to it, I'll ask the team and I'll respond accordingly. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one shortly. So stay tuned.